can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have. Shouldn't drink alcohol, it's bad for you. Shouldn't eat chocolate, it's bad for you. How often do you hear, I can't have, mustn't have, shouldn't have, don't have? How often do you say that to yourself? And how often does somebody say it to you? You shouldn't be eating that, it's bad for you. And I always ask this question very personally. If you are feeling guilty about what you eat, if you feel stressed about what you eat, if you feel angry about what you eat or what you can't eat, can't have, is it possible that that could screw with your mental health? And that's why, and people often ask me, Rowie, your house is always, this is a bowl full of chocolate coins, yum. This is a very large block of chocolate that I've just pulled out of my fridge. And at our house, there's always alcohol in the fridge. And I ask this question, if you love something and you can't have it, or you think you shouldn't have it, or you're thinking about it but you can't have it, is it possible that you want it more? So you end up angry, annoyed, frustrated that you can't have something that you want. Or if somebody says to you, don't eat chocolate, it's bad for you, and then you eat it because you love it, but then you feel guilty because you had it. I wish I didn't eat that. And of course, I've worked my entire career as an exercise professional with people who have that kind of relationship with food, and it ends up they're either anorexic or bulimic or exercise bulimic or morbidly obese. They have a terrible relationship with food because they either want it and can't have it, so they end up anorexic, or they have it, have too much of it and throw it up, bulimic. They have it, have too much of it, and exercise fanatically to try and get rid of the calories that they put in, or they had it and keep having more because they feel guilty and unhappy and angry with themselves for eating, so they just keep eating more. And all of those things to me are just a horrible way to live life. As I always ask, wouldn't it be nice to eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, love everything that you eat, and why the hell would you waste calories on food that you don't like? I can never understand that. Now, there are people, many people in the world, because wine is a very big industry, beer is a very big industry, alcohol is a very big industry. There are a lot of people that love to drink. They love it. It's an important part of their life. So they find a way to put it into their life where they don't get drunk, they don't get sick, they don't, as in sick the next morning, they don't put on weight, they just thoroughly enjoy a glass of wine or a cocktail or a beer. There are other people who get drunk and get sick and it ruins their life. There are people who learn to love chocolate. Oh no, I'll rephrase that, because most people that love chocolate don't need to learn to love it, they just love it anyway. But when you have a healthy, fit, strong body and a healthy, fit, strong brain, you don't need to eat the whole block. See, I suppose I'll rephrase this. If I was really hungry and there was nothing else to eat and I hadn't eaten for a few days, I'd probably eat this whole block and love it, because it was a superfood that was going to keep me alive. But if I eat this whole block, I'm going to feel sick if I'm not hungry. And that's the beautiful thing about having a healthy body and brain. You eat when you're hungry, you stop eating when you're full. I'll rephrase again, it's the endocrine system that does that for us. Our hormones are designed to keep us alive and to help us thrive. So when we're hungry, our hormones say, eat some food, will you? Well, I'm hungry. They also tell us you can stop eating now, you're full. But if you're not healthy and if you're not fit and if you're not strong and if your endocrine system's busted and broken because you are also busted and broken because you're unhealthy, you end up eating too much. So the answer there for me is always the same, and every time I talk about food, I say exactly the same thing. When you're healthy, fit and strong, when your body and your brain are healthy, fit and strong, is it possible that not only will you eat for performance, but you'll eat for pleasure, you'll eat when you're hungry, you'll stop eating when you're full, and you won't waste calories on things that you don't like. I would love everybody to have a great relationship with food. I would love it. We live in a world where you hear every day, social media is filled with it. Can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have. I'll ask another question. Are there people, as I shared with alcohol, who don't drink alcohol and don't miss it? See, I don't need to drink because I don't like it. So I'm not going to put that into my body because I don't like it. There are people that don't eat chocolate because they don't like it. So why would you eat something that you don't like? Why would you not eat something that you do like? Life is meant to be lived, and imagine living your whole life, getting to the end of your life, looking back over your life and saying, I wish I could have eaten chocolate, I wish I could have gone out for dinner, I wish I could have gone out with my friends for that picnic or barbecue, but I didn't because the food that they were having isn't good. Please don't get caught up in other people's can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have. Just because a social media influencer tells you that that food is good or bad doesn't mean that's true. And as I always share, if you're starving hungry and you haven't eaten and you come across a block of chocolate, this becomes a superfood because it's going to keep you alive. I don't drink alcohol, but if I was about to die and I came across a bottle of wine, I would drink it because it would keep me alive. Alcohol is a macronutrient. I'm not a fan of, I don't put butter on my bread, and I don't have oil in my house. Butter and oil are just not something I have in my house. But if I was starving to death and I came across a bucket of butter, I would eat it because it would keep me alive. I don't put sugar in my coffee, but if I came across a bucket of sugar when I was starving to death, I would eat sugar because it would keep me alive. And I'm sharing that with you because we get so caught up in the can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have, and that's a good food and a bad food. Ultimately, isn't it about how much we eat, why we eat, and how does it make me feel when I eat it? And I would love food to be a wow experience for everybody rather than something that's attached to guilt. So if somebody tells you you can't eat that, it's bad for you, and I'll rephrase the question again, is it possible that there's somebody else that will tell you you should eat that because it's good for you? And alcohol's a classic for that because, and I was brought up with alcohol's not just bad for you, but if you drink alcohol, you won't go to heaven. So that's a pretty good reason for a lot of people not to drink. But there are people who drink every day and they're very healthy. In fact, some of the centenarians, the people who live over 100, a lot of those people will tell you the reason they think they've lived to over 100 years of age is because they drink every day. So there are vegan vegetarians and there are carnivores. There are people who eat fruit and vegetables and there are people who don't eat fruit and vegetables. There are people who put sugar in their coffee and there are people who put sweetener in their coffee. And there are a lot of people who are very unhealthy who eat fruit and vegetables and they're still overweight and still miserable. And there are people that eat just fruit and vegetables and they're healthy, fit and strong. So here's my very personal question. Is it time for you personally to stop listening to the big noise out there about can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have, what's good and bad food, and work out what's best for you? What do you love to eat? And eat it and enjoy it guilt-free. What don't you like to eat? Why would you eat something that you don't like? Where do you like to eat? You might be in front of the television, it might be at your favourite restaurant, it might be on the beach, in a park. It doesn't matter. Where do you get the most pleasure from where you eat your food? When do you like to eat? There's so much argument about you should have breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The fasting folks and the intermittent fasters will tell you should never have breakfast. It's the wrong meal of the day. The longevity people will tell you should only eat once a day or once every 2 days. How about work out what's best for you? When do you like to eat food? When are you hungry? And isn't that when you should eat? When your body's telling you, hey, baby, I'm hungry, give me some food. Wouldn't it be nice to have a great relationship with food where we love our food, we enjoy everything that we eat, and life becomes a pleasurable experience because of food rather than I'm angry or guilty or anxious or upset with myself because of food? I would love you to enjoy everything that you eat and everything that you drink and have a beautiful relationship with your food. That's what I'm here for every day because I think that's a great way to live your life to the max. Super duper doo, how are you? Are you eating yummy food? Yes, yummy, yummy, yummy. I've got food in my tummy because I love it. Woohoo!